how was his face? How did he really look? What color he was? So the face, it was slightly round, not exactly round, but slightly round, and it was not like an elongated face, or and his cheeks were full of flesh, and his mouth was moderately wide. That's what the hadith mentions. And what about the eyebrows? SubhanAllah, they even record this one. Eyebrows, his eyebrows did not meet in the middle like many people do. It was separate, and it was dense, and it's also recorded that sometimes when he was very angry, there was like this vein in between, and that would like thicken. It would like get used to expand a little bit when he get angry. So that was seen. What about his eyes? His eyelashes were long. That was one thing, and his eyes were extremely black. Like some people have brownish pupil inside it, but his was completely black. And the whiteness in the eye, it had like red lines. Was not completely white. It has little red lines in there. And discuss the face, the teeth. It's mentioned it was thin and bright, and they said that when he talked, an illumination emitted from his teeth that could easily be seen. And we know that he used to use miswak a lot, all the time, many times. And it's also said that the front teeth had a little space between them, and the front teeth were wide and spread out. It's not collapsed to each other. And what was his complexion? What was his color? He was not black. He was not brown. He was more towards white. You can say it's more like wheat colored complexion. Was also like, it has like you can say whiteness, white with redness in it, a little bit red in there. So that was his complexion. It was more towards that. And as they would say that his face would shine like a full moon. Hind ibn Abi Hala, we have a lot of ahadith from her. That's what she described. Was very, very attractive. Let's look some more. The overall body of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Was he tall or was he short? Average height. Slightly taller, but not tall. Slightly taller. At that time, actually, there was another incident. They talk, about Umar radiallahu anhu, right? He was very strong. He was very tall. Who was the short Sahabi? The short one was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, and they said that the difference was so much that when Umar radiallahu anhu would sit and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud would stand, they both will be same height. Subhanallah. Yeah, that was the case. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was average, was a little bit tall, but they had different heights that time. And shoulders, he had broad shoulders. Fully fleshed shoulders. And the portion between his shoulders were wide. There was white space between shoulders. That's what it is. And what about his hands? He had long forearms, and his palms were wide and fully fleshed. And his feet also, it was like moderately long. Toes were moderately long, and it's mentioned that it was very smooth. So like if water falls on it, it like goes away very quickly. So it was very smooth. And it was fleshy, little flesh on the heels. You can read all those ahadith, but I'm basically summarizing everything for you because there are a lot of repeating ahadith. Yeah, his build was overall a medium build. Was not like heavy build. He was average in most of the cases. And it's also mentioned that he used to rub olive oil on his body. Also put oil on his hair, but olive oil he used to rub on his body, and he used to say that he recommended people doing it because he said it comes from a blessed olive tree, so put oil on it. But in general, Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they recorded that in general state, Rasulullah sallallahu, he had a smell. That smell was like musk. That was natural for him. That subhanallah. His whole body was like a barakah for them. When he would make wudu, people would just run to grab it. So his body would automatically, naturally emit this smell of musk. We'll discuss what we call the seal of the prophethood. What is the seal of prophethood? It was a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a miracle, a birthmark that you can say. He had this till since his birth, and it was a sign of prophethood. It was a mark on his body that was a sign of the prophethood from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the location of that seal? On the back of the shoulders. That was the location. Situated between the back of the shoulders. And it was a miracle, as I said. And how did it look? How did it look? It's like, I put these two pictures. We don't know how it looked, but we have hints from the hadith. It had a texture of cauliflower. That's the scholars, what they say. It has a texture of cauliflower. And it's like the size of like a quarter, you can say. Or a pigeon egg. A little bit smaller. It's not chicken egg, is a little bigger, but pigeon egg is smaller. Size of a quarter. And it's like a raised flesh. So the shoulder, you have like a raised flesh coming out of it. And it was reddish in color. It was reddish in color. And there was like hair around that mark. So they used to call it seal of Rasulullah. Why do they call it? Because that seal, that mark, nobody else will have that mark. Only he will have, and that was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a sign that now that he will be the last prophet now. So that's the seal. So there will be no person having that mark. Used to touch it for barakah. That was something that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his whole body in general was a barakah. Yeah, one thing that I also have here is that he used to put kuhl in his eyes. You know what kuhl is, right? What do you call in? They call it surma or antimony, collyrium, yeah, kajal. There are many names that people call in Indian subcontinent, but it is. Some scholars said that it is mustahab sunnah to put it. Some scholars said that it was culture specific. So it was used as medicine at that time. So people used to put that in their eye, and the people said that it will brighten your eyesight if you put that kohl in your eyes. It's still available today, but again, it was during those days it was a sign of beautification. It was a sign of beautification. But as we know, in today's culture, it is not that practice. So some scholars said that if you know your society doesn't do it, then don't use it. Even the scholars who said that use it, they agree to the fact that this kohl is sometimes harmful for some specific people. Maybe some allergic reaction or something. So people like sometimes run after sunnah, but they have to be very practical. Sometimes it won't really affect them or help them because it might not be compatible with their bodies.